the keen eye will see that compared to my armor, my tools seem rather garbage, I guess you might say. So today we're going to be exploring Tinker's Construct because that was introduced in this mod pack, and I think that that would be a worthwhile place for us to go next. Also, it will help quell the nausea that I felt after exploring those horrible doors. Although honestly, I must admit it was really exciting, and I probably will go back in there against my better judgment. Now, I do recognize that these villages right here, actually, they have the pieces that we're looking for, so I won't have to make them myself. That's fantastic, because if you look at Tinker's, right, if I do this, Tinker's Construct has these stencils that you use to craft tools with. So you make individual pieces, and then you can make them that way. But each of these stencils requires a blank pattern, which is sticks and wood, and that's just a lot of wood and a lot of time that I don't necessarily need to spend. So all I'm going to do is steal it. So you can see we don't have everything here, but we do have a tool binding, a handguard, a tool rod, an axe. There we go. That's everything that's in the chest itself. Now, these are useless because we do not have anything that we can make with them. But what we'll do is toss them aside, and then that means that I can pick up the pattern chest itself and carry that with me. Now, this pattern chest is paired with these tool station, which actually lets you make the individual tools, and the part builder, which makes the individual parts. There's also the stencil table, so we'll grab that, and we'll also grab a crafting table because I can always use them. Now, let's see, we do have some things in here, but none of them are especially useful, so we won't worry about them. Now, I have also been to another village, which is just north of here, so that's where I'm heading next. I'll head over there and then maybe down south and see if there's another one there, and then that way we can get all of the free stencils that we possibly can. Now, I have been to this village once before when I was searching for cows right at the start, because I wanted leather faster than my cows were currently breeding at the time. And when I was there, I found that they actually had part of a smeltery which generated in a really interesting way, almost sort of, it was like it tried to generate a Tinker's smeltery and then broke halfway through. So I'll show you that. That's kind of interesting and very weird to have come across. So here we are at the village. As you can see, I've stolen everything they had crops-wise. Let's see if there's anything else in here. Utini, little villagers. All right. Doesn't appear to be anything, but you can see here, this is what I meant. The sort of, it looks like a smeltery tried to spawn in, but another house spawned on top of it, and so it got cut in half. But all the same, I will be taking these because these are fairly expensive and useful. But they take a while, so I'll do that off camera, mining them. But let's see, we also have, now we have a shovel pattern, board I won't use, sword, I'll grab that. Let's see, full guard, sure. Crossbar, chisel, okay, all of that is useless. Everything else in here I won't bother with. There we are. Let's see, nothing in here either. Okay, so let's just get these. I swear, villager, you better move or I'm going to kill you. Now, I just realized that there is one other thing that we'll need, and I happened to run across it. We need clay for something in this. Now, I'll explain why later, but for now, just suffice to say that you do need it. And thankfully, there's a couple rivers nearby where I am, so I'm going to gather as much clay as I can on the way back. And hopefully, that'll mean that I won't need to make much of it when I return. Hopefully, I'll just have everything that I need. I'm going to try and get a stack of clay, because I think that probably will suffice. So we're already halfway there pretty much. I'll probably just mine up the rest of these riverbeds, and then we'll be ready for the next step. Alright, so I've prepared a little bit of a demonstration here to show off what you can do with Tinkers. Now, the first thing I am going to do, however, is replace this. Toss that in there. There is an element of Tinkers, which is just fantastic. It is in addition to the crafting table. So you put the crafting table in here like so, and you can make a crafting station. And then by placing it down, you can do this. Now, if I place 2 pieces of wood in there, you'll see they stay in the crafting grid. This is, oh, it's amazing. So useful, especially in mods when you're working with really complicated recipes. To be able to set up a crafting recipe in here, realize that you forgot something, go do it in another crafting grid, and then bring it back to this. So that's amazing. I feel like I should highlight that. But anyhow, the way that this works is kind of in a series of steps. But the first that you can do is if you look in the tool station, this is the item that you use to actually make the tools. And whenever you click on a tool, it shows you these symbols and also tells you over here the required parts in order to make it. So for the pickaxe, for instance, it says pickaxe head, tool binding, and handle. Or for the axe, it says the axe head and the handle. So I can actually go ahead and make this because I got that obsidian axe head from the village, and a stick will function as a handle, and you can make this hatchet, which has a qualifier that says reinforced 3. Now we can also give this a name, so we can call this Demon Strax. I don't know, for demonstrate, I don't know. Coming up with names at the top of your head isn't great, but there we go. And now we have this tool. Now it kind of looks a little goofy in third person Tinkers for some reason in this version, but nevertheless, you have this. And what you can do is use this on the tree, like so. And this is already a fantastic implement. Now, of course, all of this is really accessible as well because Tinkers, you spawn in with a book which documents everything that you need to do. So it tells you how to get started, you know, where the patterns are, the individual items that you need to be able to make each of these things, yada, yada, yada. All amazing things, and as well as the next books in the series, which we will get into right about now. So what you'll find is that, like the axe, some of these materials give you different properties. So when you look at this, you can see what types of tools there are, what they accomplish. Now, there are some tools that aren't available in the default tool station, and these are things like the hammer, lumber axe, excavator, and so on, which we will get into later. But you'll also find documentation of every single one of these tools and their various modifiers and capabilities. So you'll notice here it says reinforced gives you a 10% chance per level of not using durability. So this obsidian axe that I made has reinforced 3, so a 30% chance by default to not use any durability when actually swinging the axe, which is amazing. And then it also goes through their corresponding durabilities as well as what levels they can mine. So you can see a diamond pickaxe has a mining level of obsidian, much like obsidian does, but there are some that can mine even further than that. And so that is what we'll be making use of later. So the other feature of this is, of course, that you can modify these tools. As you can see, it says modifiers remaining 3. And so there are documented all kinds of different ways to modify tools. But one of them, for instance, is to put diamond on. So what this does, it increases the durability quite dramatically. As you can see, we only have 89 here because we used a wood handle. So if we do this, it adds an extra 500. And if you had a pickaxe that was made of a cheaper material, you would see that the mining level would actually increase. So let's go about demonstrating that now. What I'll do is I'll grab some cobblestone here and a bit of wood. And then all we'll do is we'll go into this part builder here and we'll drag over our... Oh, we don't actually have a pickaxe one, do we? Okay, in that case, let's actually make a pickaxe head cast. Put that in here, the pattern I should say. And then what we'll do is we'll put in a pickaxe head with a piece of stone. And there we go, we now have a stone pickaxe head. Then if we put in a tool binding, we can go like so, place this, and get a stick as well. So now with all of this, we can go over to the pickaxe, put in the stone pickaxe head, the wooden binding, and the wood handle, and then get a pickaxe like so. And with this in our hand, you can see that this has a mining level of iron, so we can mine iron ore with it, and it has a pretty poor durability. But if we toss on a diamond, suddenly this pickaxe can mine obsidian, and it has a durability of 631, which is fantastic. That's a really great tool for us, in a sense. It's pretty durable, it's probably about as durable as an iron pickaxe, and it can actually mine obsidian, which is pretty great. Now, it will be slow, of course, to mine, but that's sort of besides the point, because this lets you sort of skip over tiers of tools straight to the point where you can mine obsidian, which is fantastic and something that we'll need to do in future, because I actually plan on going to the Nether today, but that is, you know, again, for later. Now, the last thing, of course, is that some of these materials that you get in here, for instance, something like alumite, is actually an alloy, and it says it requires the smeltery. So in the third book, which you can get, this documents how to actually make these things and how you'll need all of these sort of things. So you'll need seared bricks, a smeltery controller, yada, yada, yada. And the way that you make these is actually using clay, sand, and gravel, which is why I mentioned getting them earlier. So what I can do is I can put clay in here, put in some gravel and some sand. There we go, and now we can get grout. So I have 2 stacks here. It'll take a little bit of time for that to smelt, and I've also realized that I forgot to grab any coal. Alright, there we are. Now the seared bricks are all done, which is fantastic, and we can actually begin to make what we need to do here. So what we'll do is, first of all, place 1 piece of glass and several of these to make the seared tank. And it actually gave me another copy of this, which is quite interesting. There we go. And then we also need to make a smeltery drain. I'm actually going to make 2 of these. We're also going to need a casting table and a casting basin. And then I believe it is this. And I believe that that is all we need. Now I can consult the book. Let's see. It says we need a smeltery controller. Check. Tank. Bricks. We also need a faucet. So we're going to go like so and like so to get 2 of these faucets. And then once I fix my inventory, geez. Okay, so the way that you do this is you break up a 3x3 on the ground, like so, and this is the base of the smeltery. Then if we place down the seared bricks, great. I'll probably place the controller facing this way. So we'll have controller here, we want seared tank, and then we want stone bricks. And then we will place a smeltery drain, like so. That's interesting, it's kind of placed it really weirdly. Okay, break this and this up, and then we will go smeltery drain. Then we will place seared faucets and the casting table and casting basin. Then we need seared brick, and because I've run out, I can go like so, and we now have a finished smeltery. Now you can expand this. As you'll see, if I right click on here, this has room for 9 individual items. But for now, that's not really much of a concern for us because I won't be putting a crazy amount of things in here to smelt. But the way that it fuels itself is based on lava. So we'll put in 2 buckets for now. That'll suffice, I imagine. I actually think that'll probably be enough for everything I'm doing today, but if need be, I can go and get more from the ravine. Now, you can expand this, I probably will at some point, and you can also make what's called seared glass, so that you can actually look into this, but for now I can just hop up here and see it. So we'll deposit everything back in here, and what we'll do is I'll grab a piece of gold ore and toss it in there so that it can begin smelting. Now as this red bar increases, that's what it will do to put it in here. And then what I also need is a piece of iron and a piece of wood, because I was reviewing the types of materials available to me in this in Tinkers. And the best one available is something referred to as manulian, or however you want to pronounce that, I'm not so sure. But it has a crazy high durability and a high mining speed and a high damage level, which is fantastic. So this obviously seems the best, but it's an alloy made of ardite and cobalt, which are only available in the nether, and they require a very powerful pickaxe to mine. Fortunately, steel actually has a mining level of cobalt and ardite. So what I can do is if I place in a single oak plank with a piece of iron, this will actually turn into steel. Like so, amazing, steel, a strong alloy. Now, with the gold in here, amazing. Man, this is so cool that you, don't want to fall in there. Jeez, that would probably incinerate people. Okay, now the way that you actually make anything more advanced is, I actually don't have a stone anything that I can do. I might be able to do it with wood. I've never tried with wood. But what you do is you take the pattern that you want to make and you make a actual cast of it. So like we have this wood pickaxe here. Then I place this on the casting basin with the gold. And when I pour gold onto this, you'll see that now we have a pickaxe head cast and the wooden pickaxe head. So we'll just toss this in here, I suppose. And then now, when we place this pickaxe head cast down here, whenever we have an actual metal that we can make a tool out of, such as steel, we can pour the steel into this cast and it will turn into that pickaxe. And now we have molten steel in there. So what we'll do is we can pour this in like so. And now we have a steel pickaxe head. So we'll return here and we will make a steel pickaxe like so. And now we have our reinforced to mining level cobalt pickaxe. Now, as you can see, its durability is only 750, but if I grab the diamond, like so, and go in here, now its durability is 1250. There we are. Now this will work, and we'll be able to go into the nether and get ardite and cobalt, and then be able to make the most powerful tools in the game using manulian. I did forget to mention one thing about these tools, of course, because it never really came up in my demonstrations, but the advantage of them is that they can also be repaired. So unlike normal tools where when they finish their last bit of durability they break and you can never use them again. Ooh, there's a bit of a world hole going here. But unlike normal tools where when they break you can never use them again, Tinker's tools, whenever they break, they still stay in your inventory. And so if you have the material that you use to make them with, you can repair them. This is actually really useful, especially for tools made out of cheap materials, like something made out of stone. You could make a stone pickaxe with a diamond on it to increase its durability to like 500, and then, whenever you ran out of durability, just feed it stone. And I'll demonstrate that later, because that's actually one of my favorite things that you can do with this. Now, here we are. This is a nice, easily accessible source of obsidian, so we'll just open this up to check that there's nothing underneath it. Doesn't actually look like there is. This may be one of the most shallow pools of obsidian I've ever seen. Alright, and there we go. There is the first piece of obsidian I've ever mined. Now, interestingly enough, I didn't actually get an achievement for that. Oh, you actually have to build the portal itself. Right. Anyhow, I'm going to mine the rest of this and then I'll be back.